YouTube channel, since everybody's new here. Hi, welcome to my new. I'm gonna act like that. Be like, oh, I didn't see you there. Oh wow. So to start off, we're gonna talk about her beginnings in the stardom, and that is with her being on Victorious from 2010 to 2013. In those years, I was ages 12 to 15, and that is a very impressionable time in a young girl's life. And I was impressed by her. I just touched my mic.
Keep talking.
And I was very impressed by her. So, yes, on Victorious, even though she wasn't the main character, clearly her voice always took center stage whenever she got the opportunity to sing. And I think after that episode where they did the karaoke and she and Jade sang Gave It Up, the producers were like, we need to hop on this some more. And to be honest, we're not here to talk about Victorious, so that's all I'm gonna say. But I think that is what probably gave her that was a catalyst, and that gave her her stardom trajectory. Her very first album, Yours Truly, came out in 2013. I will admit, I did not listen to this album when it first came out. I wasn't very interested. I was like, oh, a Nickelodeon starts doing an album? Boring. But, you know, now, damn near 8 years later, I've listened to a lot of it, most of it, some of it. And my top 3 songs from that album, I would say, are Honeymoon Avenue. It's amazing. She really shows off her voice and the talent that she has. The Way, which was a single, still really good. And then Right There by Big Sean, also another voice. And I think in this album, her very first one, you can see, because she's talked about how she gets a lot of her influences from Mariah Carey. I think she listened to a lot of Celine Dion growing up, and you can hear that in this one. For example, Honeymoon Avenue, you know, it's long, kind of ballady. She, you know, I looked in my rearview mirror. You know, it's nice. It's got that nice, drawn-out tone to it. And you can kind of see where she gets her influences from. Enough with Yours Truly, not the one I mainly wanted to talk about. So her next album, My Everything, this was the first album that I really had a true obsession with. At one point in time, I was working at a Subway, and I think every day for like 3 or 4 months that I was working there, and I would be in there by myself, Miss Ariana Grande's My Everything was playing over the speaker. My favorite songs from this album, I would have to say, are probably My Everything, another ballad of hers, which I don't think she did enough ballads in her early days. There was probably only 1 or 2 per album, and I think her voice was better for that then, rather than the more pop sounding stuff that she did. Don't get me wrong, it still sounded good, but when her voice sounded as young as it did then, I preferred her ballads. But anyways, my top 3 songs, My Everything, I think One Last Time, and maybe Break Free. And Break Free and One Last Time, very poppy again. And I'm not here to hate on pop music. I'm not here to hate on Ariana's pop songs. But there's just, I mean, and it did traject, you know, it was the catalyst that trajected her into her stardom, got her popular, got her on the radios, gave her that household name, and they're good. But it wasn't really anything original for the time. I think at that time, you could have compared her to Demi Lovato. She was doing a lot of belting in her songs like Demi, not really using that the highest register that she has, that we've now seen that she has. But it was still a good album. What year was this? 2014? So this was what? 6-7 years ago, and she's 28 now. So yeah, she was like my age, 22. Young sounding, still an amazing album. Okay, so the next album, Dangerous Woman, came out in 2016. I believe this is the album that turned Ariana Grande into the Ariana Grande that she is today. That is Miss Grown Up, sensual, proud of herself, you know, body positivity, God is a woman ass Ariana Grande. My top 3 off this album, I would say Moonlight, which is the first song off this album, and it's a ballad. I think Leave Me Lonely, which is another one of her ballads. And I think Greedy. Greedy is really fun. And, okay. Oh, I don't remember this. Greedy is really fun. I think that one should have been a single. It gives me like high energy, you know, jazz vibes. It's a fun little song. I enjoy it. Okay, what are my next groups? Okay, so her Dangerous Woman album, this is where she really started getting into, in my opinion, hip-hop. More hip-hop inspired influences. In this album, I feel like this is her first album where she really put in, was it this one? Oh yeah, she had Nicki Minaj. I feel like this album is where she put in a lot more hip-hop influences. For example, Let Me Love You featuring Lil Wayne. Hip-hop, also a little more maybe on the rap side. Not my favorite song by her. I see what she was trying to do. I think if she wanted to go more that route, she could. And I mean, obviously she did for that song. Not my favorite. I'm not good at exploring the why of why. But if you wanted some random thoughts, you could go. Leave Me Lonely. I did not hear this song because when I listen to albums, I don't always make it to the end. So artists, put your best songs in the front, or otherwise I'm not gonna listen to them. But Leave Me Lonely, I heard randomly one day a couple years ago on a road trip, and we were just passing along the aux cord, and one of the girls put on Leave Me Lonely, and I was like, how have I not heard this Ariana Grande song before? Because like it's beautiful, the words, the lyrics, you know, all that good stuff. Okay, so her next album is Sweetener, which came out in 2018. Pharrell produced a lot of this album, which is good. He did a good job. But the one song that has him on it, that is featuring him, no thanks, don't like it. It's a dud for me. My top 3 songs on her Sweetener album, I would say are R.E.M., Successful, and God Is a Woman. R.E.M., we have to talk about R.E.M. because Ariana did not write this song. Do y'all want to know who wrote this song and then who gave it to her? Beyonce. Beyonce gave her that song. And there is the version, the Beyonce version's on YouTube. I say everybody should go listen to it because Ariana's version of this song is very 22, 23, 24, you know, flirty. But Beyonce's version of the song, it is grown woman, you know, drunken love vibes. But, I mean, she did a good thing giving it to Ariana. She killed it, she did not disappoint. And I think, honestly, Beyonce should do more songwriting for Ariana because they have very similar styles in their voices. I think as Ariana gets older, she's experimenting more into the lower register of her voice. And you can hear that in her live performances of the Positions songs. Because she uses the loop pedals and all that, and the harmonies, but I'll get into that later. Successful, I actually wasn't really that into this song until I heard her perform it on her live tour album. I think it's Sweet You Next Door, Thank You Next Door, something like that. And I just thought it was a bop. The lyrics are what makes you a bop. Girl, you two, you are so young and beautiful and so successful. That's what we need. We needed that in America. The young women of Ariana Grande's fandom, we needed that. We needed to be told that we're young and beautiful and successful because we don't hear it enough. Anyways, third song, what did I say I enjoyed? Was it God Is a Woman? That song's great too. And that video, that music video, I don't want to use the word cultural reset because I don't really know what that means. Her next album, Thank You Next, I want to say that came out the end of that same year that she released Sweetener, if not the next year. And I think this album made her bigger. She released it, I want to say very quickly after Mac Miller's death. May he rest in peace. One could argue that in Sweetener, she really got into the personal, but I think Thank You Next, she really got into her personal life. I can't give you my top 3 songs off this album because it would be easier to tell you the songs that I don't like, because all the ones that I do like, I genuinely like them the same amount. Imagine the first song on the album, the first thing you hear when you go to listen to this album. She gave us whistle tones. She gave us her whistle tones. And if that's not something the Mariah Carey of our generation would do, then I don't know what is. It's good, you know. Another ballad of hers, really getting back into that ballad, you know. Needy. Needy's a great song. That's another song that I really underestimated until I heard it on her live tour album. But it's good. And it's relatable. And the girlies love it. Ariana Grande for the girls and the gays. 7 Rings. I think that was her biggest, probably her biggest single from this album. And the music video is really big for that one too. I like the song. I think it was overplayed. Her discography, honestly, it does not rival Beyonce's in quality. I won't say that. I'm not gonna slander Beyonce's name like that. But it does, I mean, she's got the volume for sure. She said, oh, I have songs to give out. And she's not even in her 30s yet. She can still have a successful career for another 20 years, you know? She's doing great. Okay, and then we have her most recent album, Positions. I will still bump this in the car. It's great. I love it. And I think this album is so great. You know, I kind of feel like I've grown up with Ariana Grande in a way, because this Positions album, this came out, what, like a year ago? Yeah, a year ago. I had just turned 22. I was a new woman, basically. You know, I was not a little girl anymore. And this album is also, I feel like, Ariana not being a little girl anymore. She, you know, her first album, very Nickelodeon, kid-friendly. She kind of got a little more risque, but it was very subtle. She talked about her love life and all that. And now she said, this one's for the grown folks, okay? And that's me being 22. My top 3 songs off this album, My Hair. She gave us an entire verse full of whistle tones. She said, I'm not done growing yet, people. Don't think that I can only sustain the note. I can sing in that note. Only the best. Did Mariah Carey ever do that? I don't know. Somebody tell me in the comments down below. In this new Positions era, she's been experimenting with harmonies and like her loop pedal, you know, adding that stuff into her live performances. And the only other person who I can think of who really be like making their harmonies hit like that is Beyonce. I mean, there's really nothing else I could say after that. Like, if Beyonce and Ariana Grande are doing it, then I mean, they must be the best. Ha! I mean, she can only go up from here. I did listen to some of her live songs when she did those like live performances in that garden for the Positions album. Positions! It was that song Positions. And the way she just started it out with like, you know, the harmonies. It was amazing. It was amazing. Like, I felt like I was in a listening experience and I was in my own home. So, Ariana Grande recently, as in this past weekend, did a Fortnite concert. I guess after seeing the success that Travis Scott got on Fortnite, her management team or whatever was like, you should do one too. Okay. I have a Nintendo Switch, so I downloaded Fortnite solely for the reason of watching the Ariana Grande Rift tour or whatever. And I didn't even end up doing that because we found it on YouTube, my boyfriend and I. And let me tell you, I mean, it was great seeing like the little Ariana Grande character running around, but that wasn't gonna give me what I thought it was gonna give me. Anyways, I don't know how to end this video, but if you think I should talk about video games or what are my other video ideas, tell me what I should talk about next in the comments, because I truly don't know. I watch a lot of black female, well, not a lot, not enough, But I've been trying to watch more black female YouTubers. And the ones that I really like, shout out to Amanda BB. I love her so much. I want to be like her. Anyways. Oh. Should I talk about my thoughts on America? Politically? Professionally? Or could y'all be interested in that? I think I have some interesting ideas. I never get to talk to people anymore. We're in a pandemic. I don't leave my house. I work from home. Should I talk about my job? I work in a mortgage company. What does Gen Z know about buying houses? Nothing. I could talk a little bit about that. I live in the metro area. I live in the metro Atlanta area. Gotta put that in there. And honestly, seeing Atlanta grow throughout my lifetime as the way it has been interesting to say the least. I could make a whole video about that. Oh, or I could talk about Netflix shows. 30 Rock just got put on Netflix. That show is funny as there's no way it will fly today. They kept making a whole bunch of Bill Cosby jokes in the first season. I was like, no. But that's all I have for y'all today. My name's Naomi. Holla at me. Follow my socials, I guess. My Instagram is at NaomiHill98. And have a good day. Bye. Oh, but hey.
Don't, keep going. Stop. With the production team. Stop looking.